I think if there was a moment in those 5 sitting weeks of the Parliament, of the hung Parliament, was when the member for Gilmore, Joanna Gash, got to her feet in the NBN debate. Here it is.
I refer the Prime Minister to the comments of Natalie Osborne of Kiama in my electorate following the destruction of her nature strip, the National Broadband Network installers, and I quote, "Just listen to it.
Order.
Just listen to it.
Order.
They have ripped up my whole nature strip. It's a massive amount of work. People have no idea how much destruction it's going to be."
What I'd also say to the Liberal Party is its advocacy in this place, that we somehow put a dome over the nation now, that we freeze it in time, that we pickle it, that we keep it in its current form. Apparently they don't like cable. Well, do they want us to take all the electricity wires down? Apparently they don't like wiring. Do they want all the telephone wires gone? Apparently they don't like progress. Which part of time would they like us to go back to? 1960, 1930, 1910? Which age would they pick as the party of the past?
Order, the House will come to order.
This does not befit a political party that calls itself Liberal Party.
Now, it seems to me that allowed Julia Gillard to put on probably her strongest performance since being elected.
Yeah, it did. I think, by the way, there's a beautiful resolution in the new paradigm available for Joanna Gash's nature strip problem, and that is take the gardeners with the whippersnippers from outside Joe Hockey's window and send them to the seat of Gilmore. But seriously, I'm not sure what the local constituents would think of a network of mobile towers, which would be the sort of corollary of pursuing a wireless solution to NBN. The point is that, local construction is always going to annoy people. But that answer, I think, did give Julia Gillard an opportunity to really kind of put in a bit of a...
I think it was a mistake. Because she
Which
may
was
have been...
The
tone of voice of Julia Gillard was wrong. Because it's one thing to mock Joanna Gash as an MP, but Joanna Gash was actually reading out a constituent's letter.
Yeah,
and I think that's mocking the constituent and a lot of other people who would see, for them, it is important, the digging up of the nature strip. That's the only thing they see.
Andrew, stopping a project like the NBN because it's going to be an untidy thing on the nature strip.
Yes, ridiculous. Well, let me finish the point. Because it symbolises for a lot of people this idea that they're being foisted a project on them that they don't see the value of, that they don't want, that they think might cost them too much, and by a government that's not listening. And I just think that was a very bad tone. Look, it's a Canberra insiders thing to say, oh, look, let's mock at a big scheme. Out in the burbs, you dig up a nature strip like that.
You're out in the burbs these days. What's your view?
Think of the pipe.
OK. Well, this happens to be the first significant piece of microeconomic reform this country's seen in 10 years. Now, I know that's a Labor line, but it happens to be a fact. Paul Keating couldn't get it up. Bob Hawke wouldn't let him do it because Kim Beazley pulled a big veto when they first set up Telstra. Richard Alston would love to have done it, but John Howard was too keen to get his hands on the cash for the privatisation of Telstra. Paul Fletcher would love to have seen it happen when he was running Optus. It finally happened. Now, the problem I have with the way the Labor government solved this whole thing is that they get hung up on some of the coalition talking points, which is prove that this thing's going to make money. It isn't going to make money in the rollout. This is the reason why the government is investing in the infrastructure. Otherwise, the private sector would have delivered it years ago.
The national question of where this debate needs to be for the government is, should we have a national broadband network? Should we have fast broadband or not? That's where the government's trying to position this debate. And the reason I think the Joanna Gash question is unfortunate, and I think the Prime Minister's response to it was effective, is because she continued that kind of equation. The problem for the coalition is they need to turn this debate around from, the government's for broadband and we're against it, which is where the perception in the suburbs is now, I think, and try and make it an issue of competence. And I don't think that the Gash this sort of nature strip destruction thing helps them to do that, which is why I make the comment that I did.
Yeah, I'm not saying stop the broadband because it'll dig up someone's nature strip. It's the tone of jeering response from Gillard that I think hits the... It's like in Victoria. We saw one of the biggest swings against the Victorian government was in the seat of Seymour, where the government built a pipeline to pump water from the Goulburn to Melbourne. Now, you think, very significant program. Millions of people will be affected beneficially to that. And yet the huge swing was from people that resented having a pipe across their land.
But
As I'm
I
saying,
think
it's
nationally there's more people that want
done.
good broadband than want clean, tidy nature strips.
And the thing on that other argument about whether it's necessary, Hong Kong has just unveiled a new broadband scheme delivered by satellite. And I just think, as we go on every year...
Teeny country.
Teeny country. But every technological development on that front, and there will be more, every 6 months you'll hear another announcement like this, and another development that makes this thing
You can't stop
less
development
and less
because of
profitable.
some technology that might be down the track.
Well, now we're told this.
That just doesn't make sense.
That's the argument on the other side. You need this because of benefits that we haven't thought of yet. That's exactly the government's argument. Hello.